Good day, this is Ray. Today is Friday, July 3rd, 2020. And for me, day number 115 of social distancing. This is my 28th vlog. I've been doing this now since the end of December of 2019, beginning of 2020. And doing this with the hopes that eventually I'll be able to provide you with information on hospital stays, understanding health insurance, as well as, just my journey of being hospitalized. I was hospitalized 6 times in a period of less than 2 years, 5 times in a year. I hadn't been hospitalized since February, so this is the longest time I've not been in the hospital since going through all these changes. But ultimately, I was diagnosed with lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, type 2 diabetes because of the fact that I'm taking prednisone, and I had some other things along the way. Stage 3 kidney disease, which I believe has been completely reversed. I haven't had any lab tests lately, but there was no problems there. And basically just trying to live my life and trying to understand the new normal. The biggest issues that I'm facing right now is just the medical bills and trying to get those paid off. I described in previous videos that in the past 3 years, not only have I met my deductible, I met my deductible in 2018 towards the end of the year, but also in 2019 and 2020, I met my deductible and my out-of-pocket maximum for 2 years in a row. And so when I finished paying my medical bills off for 2019, at the beginning of this year, I was hospitalized, and that pretty much, I met my deductible right then and there. As well as a big portion of my out-of-pocket maximum, and so I had got them, payment plans and things like that. But even still, winding up paying $900 a month on top of having to move cross country, a couple $1,000s there, and cut back on my salary, and it's just a big adjustment. So that's enough of that. I was thinking earlier today. It's been a couple years since I've been on a flight, and if I recall correctly, the last flight I took was either to New York City for business and back west when I was living out west. And it was either that or a trip I had took to Burbank. In particular, it was I spent time in Los Angeles for a few days for business, but I may have flown to New York after that trip. But anyway, I do recall that I was having some problems with pain at the time, and this was prior to being hospitalized. So this would have had to been back in 2018 was the last time I've flown. Before that, I caught flights all the time. So it wasn't, unusual. But, I remember being in a lot of pain, and I was sitting in a seat. So this had to be coming from New York. It was a long flight. That flight going to New York is about 4 hours, 4.5 hours or so, where I was flying from, and then flying back was about 5 hours because you're flying against jet stream. So I can do anything really to get comfortable flying, and I'm 6'3", so there's just not enough leg room on any flight to be able to get comfortable. But the pain during that time was just unreal. And when I got to where I was going, I got to New York, I caught a taxi from JFK, and went to the hotel close to Madison Avenue. Got to the hotel, got checked in, and I actually had to go to where I was going and take a course, so I didn't really have any downtime. But after the day was done, everybody wanted to go out and have dinner, do some things afterwards. I was able to have dinner, but then after that, I went back to the hotel and I crashed. So much pain the entire day. And now that I look back on it, it's probably because of rheumatoid arthritis. And anyway, made it through the week of training, and did a little bit of sightseeing, and then made it back flew back out west. I was in even more pain. Had to rest up and just took it easy for a day or so before I had to go back into work. But, if I had thought back then, if I was brave enough, I would have went to the doctor, but I didn't. I let it linger for a while and ended up being hospitalized in September for the first time for dehydration as well as anxiety, which led me to another hospitalization the following May. And that May I was hospitalized for, it was the same thing initially, but in the hospital I ended up waking up one night vomiting and vomited into my lungs, and that's when I developed aspirational pneumonia. Ended up having an extended stay in the hospital, but was discharged for a couple of days, came back. Things didn't improve, things got worse, and that's when they diagnosed me with lupus, as well as rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis was actually later by my rheumatologist. But anyway, just going into the hospital was a scary thing, and not gonna lie about that. Just not knowing the structure, not knowing what to expect, and having to deal with all of that. It was just quite a journey. And if there's any guys that are watching this, you may have the same intimidation, the same fear, the fear of not knowing, having to have an IV bag plugged into you, having to have x-rays and different diagnostics. All those things might seem scary initially, and it could be, and they were for me, as well as dealing with the aftermath of all that, the medical bills, having to understand your insurance, understand what a deductible is, co-insurance, co-pays, out-of-pocket maximum. All those things meant absolutely nothing to me. And I work in a similar industry, and even still, it meant nothing. Reading the fine print, understanding what my health plan is, what's covered, what's not covered, what's in network, what's out of network. All those things meant nothing. And hopefully, for you, you're more wise to this. And what I would advise for you to do is actually do research beforehand, before you have to go to the emergency room or to your doctor's visit, to understand what your doctor does, whether they're internal medicine or whether they are an endocrinologist, an oncologist, a hematologist. And I apologize, you might hear the garbage truck picking up garbage. It's Friday, that's when they pick up trash here. And but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But do your research, understand what an IV bag is. What type of why would you need to be hooked up to an IV, and what type of bags do they include on there. Those are the things I didn't know, didn't understand. Even when I was in the hospital, they would use a lot of jargon that I didn't understand, and I wish I would go back and ask questions about those things. But hindsight is 2020. I'm here now. Hindsight is 2020, and it's 2020. Wow. Okay. But 2020 vision, not 2020 the year. It just so happens that it is, and why am I stuck on this? But anyway, so what's the point of this video? It's just to, kind of go back and talk about what the point of my vlogs are, and why am I doing this, and what my intentions are, and what I want to do with these videos is to be able to provide you with some insight and how to research and fully understand what you're getting yourself into, and not being afraid or intimidated by anything that you come across. So, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and in the comments, if you want to leave suggestions on things that you want to learn about or hear about my experiences, definitely do that. It's hard to believe that we're 7 months into 2020, and 2020 has been a horrible year. Not gonna lie about it. There's just been so many things that have happened, and hopefully now going forward things will get better. I hope you and your family are doing well. Hope you have a happy July 4th and a long weekend, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you.
Is she an angel? She's a miracle.